Welcome to our explainer. Okay, picture this, a king who has all the power and riches you can imagine, but he's totally consumed by fear. Now, picture a monk who has nothing, literally nothing, but a begging bowl, and he is living in a state of absolute bliss. Today, we're going to uncover the ancient secret that separates these two lives and figure out what it really means to be free. So, our story really kicks off with this incredibly joyful and kind of mysterious exclamation from a monk named Venerable Bhatia. It's like he'd stumbled upon some amazing secret to happiness, one that had absolutely nothing to do with anything on the outside. So, who is this monk, and how did he get so unbelievably happy? Well, it turns out his past holds all the clues. The Buddha revealed that Bhatia's life was this incredible story of two extremes, a real journey from a life filled with fear to one of profound freedom. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it's a total paradox, right? As a king, Bhatia had it all. We're talking wealth, power, armed guards around the clock, and yet he was living in constant fear. But as a monk, with absolutely nothing to his name, he felt completely safe and peaceful. So how on earth could having less make him more happy? Well, the Buddha explains something fascinating. This wasn't the first time Bhatia had found this kind of happiness. To really drive the point home, he shared this amazing story from one of his own past lives, a tale that takes us way back to the ancient city of Benares. Okay, so let's set the scene here. You've got this wise bodhisattva, a respected teacher with a whole group of followers. And get this, one of his top disciples is a guy who used to be a powerful king himself. They travel to Benares, and who do they meet? The city's current king. So you've got this incredible setup for a meeting between two men with completely different ideas about what power, security, and happiness really are. All right, so these two worlds are about to collide. You've got the world of the king, full of duties and possessions, crashing right into the world of the monk, a life of total simplicity and freedom. So picture this. The king of Benares is taking a stroll through his own royal park, and he comes across this former king, now an ascetic, just lying down and joyfully repeating, "Oh, what bliss." But the king, he completely misread the whole situation. And this is just a classic case of misinterpretation, isn't it? The king looks at him and just sees laziness. He figures, this guy just had a huge lunch and now he's taking a nap. But the Bodhisattva stepped in and explained that what the king was actually seeing was a kind of happiness far beyond any royal feast. It was the pure bliss that comes from true, uncomplicated freedom. So it all boils down to this, right? The two lives were polar opposites. The king's life was all about the heavy burden of protecting everything he owned, always worried about rivals and danger. His mind was just full. The ascetic's life, on the other hand, was defined by the lightness of having nothing to protect, which meant his mind was filled with peace. The Bodhisattva, being the wise teacher he was, saw the king's confusion. So, to make it crystal clear, he offered a single verse that just cuts right to the heart of the entire matter. Now, at first glance, this might sound a little bit like a riddle, right? But trust me, it's actually a complete roadmap to lasting happiness. Everything we need to understand the ascetic's joy is packed right into this one sentence. So let's break it down. Let's take that first part. He whom others do not protect. What does that mean? Well, it's about security. If you don't have a lot of stuff, you don't need guards. You're not a target. The story is basically saying that real security isn't about building bigger walls. It's about realizing there's nothing inside that can be stolen in the first place. Okay, and then there's the second piece of the puzzle. And who does not protect others. Now, this isn't about being careless or neglecting people. It's about being free from that heavy, heavy weight of command, that constant anxiety that comes with having to manage a kingdom or a company, or even just your own reputation. It's freedom from the burden of control. So what we have here is basically a 3-step path to real inner peace. First, you let go of needing things on the outside to make you feel safe. Second, you release all that stress that comes from trying to control everything and everyone. And what's the foundation for it all? That third step, working to create a mind that is free from craving, because that's really the root of all our worries. And what's the payoff for all this? It's something pretty amazing. We're not talking about a quick thrill or a fleeting moment of pleasure. This is a deep, constant state of well-being that's with you all the time. It's a happiness you feel whether you're walking, standing, sitting. It doesn't matter. because it comes from inside you. So, look, it's a beautiful story. But how does a tale about ancient kings and ascetics have anything to do with us today? What can we actually take away from this for our own busy modern lives? Well, the lessons are just as powerful now as they were thousands of years ago. The big idea is that real, lasting happiness comes from inner freedom, not from all the stuff we can pile up. So often, the things we own end up owning us, with all the worry they bring. True security isn't a bigger bank account, it's a state of mind. And maybe the most important takeaway of all is that letting go, that's the real key to finding profound peace. And that brings us to a really powerful question we can ask ourselves. We might not be ruling actual kingdoms, but we all have our own little kingdoms that we protect so fiercely, don't we? Our jobs, our possessions, our reputation online. So the question is, which of those kingdoms is costing you your peace of mind? Which one creates the most anxiety in your life? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. We really hope this story gives you a little bit of peace and a lot of inspiration. May you all find your happiness.